Today, we'll debate is konbini dining better than Michelin nights with Sakura, a populist foodie, and Jean-Luc, a gourmet elitist. They're two artificial intelligence personas. Please introduce yourselves.
Hey, I'm Sakura, born and raised in Tokyo, powered by onigiri and strong, possibly questionable kombucha from the konbini down the street. Some people travel the world seeking five-star restaurants. Me? I get starry-eyed over a perfectly soft-boiled konbini egg. Where else can you walk in with coins and come out with a feast, a face mask, and socks for your cold feet? My friends call me the queen of konbini because I can identify any bento by sound alone. Sit down to a silent, expensive meal with tiny forks? No thanks. I want my meals cheap, cheerful, and maybe eaten on the steps outside with my besties. Good food should be for everyone, everywhere. Bonus points if you can get it heated up in 30 seconds. That's my kind of democracy.
Bonsoir. I am Jean-Luc, former Parisian now enduring, how do you say, the tyranny of plastic-wrapped sandwiches. You see, in my world, a meal is not merely fuel. It is a symphony. You do not eat a croque monsieur with your hands, mon Dieu. You admire, you inhale, you discuss. In hushed tones, of course, a sip of chablis, a whisper of truffle, a waiter who glides like a swan. These are the ingredients of life. The konbini, sacre bleu. It is a culinary graveyard, where art is entombed beneath fluorescent light. I would rather wait all day for a soup to rise than sprint to a microwave. Life is too short for cheap wine and mystery meatballs. As for democratic food, well, liberty, equality, gastronomy, none.
Thank you guys. Sakura and Jean-Luc will now present their 3 rounds of arguments.
Jean-Luc, I totally get that you come from a world where a baguette is practically a national treasure and dinner can last 4 hours. But hear me out. The konbini isn't just about speed. It's about innovation and meeting real, everyday needs. Think of Japan after the 2011 earthquake. The konbini became lifelines, providing fresh, affordable meals and essentials when restaurants were closed and supplies were scarce. That's community through food. Plus, don't forget, Japanese convenience stores are famous worldwide because they constantly evolve. Seasonal bentos, collabs with Michelin chefs. Yes, even they appreciate a good onigiri sometimes. And new foods every month. It's like a tiny edible exhibition, always changing, always accessible. Sure, it's not porcelain and foie gras, but it brings people together, makes daily life easier, and lets every salaryman and student taste something new without breaking the bank. Isn't that its own form of culinary democracy?
Matre, Sakura, I admire your energy and your love for your konbini. I do, but let us not confuse efficiency with excellence. Yes, konbini provided for the people after the earthquake. An admirable feat, certainly. Yet in this rush for convenience, what do we risk losing? The joy of anticipation, the perfecting of a single dish over generations, the artistry handed down from master to apprentice. Imagine if the French, after the war, abandoned their boulangeries for packaged white bread. Is this progress or surrender? I see your point about innovation, but beware, not all change is for the better. The konbini's very genius is also its flaw. It treats food as product, not passion. A sushi roll becomes no more mysterious than a packet of tissues. And what are the farmers, the artisans, the small family shops threatened by these corporate giants? Affordable food is important, but let us not trade away soul and heritage for cheap bentos and instant gratification. The richest culture, my friend, is made with patience, respect, and a little lingering at the table.
Oh, Jean-Luc, you make it sound like eating a konbini onigiri is a mortal sin against all grandmothers in aprons. Trust me, I love a beautifully plated kaiseki meal or the fluffiest shokupan from a tiny bakery too. But let's be real, most people don't have the time or paycheck to live like a judge on Iron Chef every night. Should we force students to linger at the table, gazing wistfully at empty plates because dinner cost them next month's rent? And come on, the death of passion, I see plenty of passion in the konbini aisles. Old ladies comparing egg sandwiches like seasoned sommeliers, teens snapping photos of the latest seasonal sweets, even foodies hunting for that limited edition collab. Yes, even you fancy Michelin chefs get in on the konbini action sometimes. Surprise! Artisans aren't going extinct, they're collaborating, and those farmers, you find locally sourced stickers on plenty of konbini salads. So yes, let's toast tradition over a glass of konbini chuhai, because darling Jean-Luc, The world moves fast, and so do our appetites. You can keep your souffles, but I'll raise my perfectly chilled konbini pudding to the people's culinary revolution.
Ah, Sakura, always so vivacious. If only your konbini food had half your flavor. You talk about revolution, but I fear the only thing being overthrown is Japan's proud culinary heritage, buried beneath an avalanche of plastic wrappers and limited edition pudding. Snapchatting seasonal sweets does not equal understanding their soul, you know. Next, you will tell me that taking a selfie with a bag of konbini edamame is the same as dining under the cherry blossoms. And this collaboration you mention, how flattering that Michelin chefs stoop to design a sandwich for the masses. It is like Picasso painting postcards for tourists at Montmartre. As for your locally sourced stickers, are very modern, very greenwashing chic. Because nothing says terroir like lettuce in shrink wrap. You say the world moves fast, my dear, but perhaps we move too fast to taste it. When eating becomes a pit stop, community becomes a crowd, and convenience replaces care. Raise your chuhai, but as for me, we'll linger over my Bordeaux and leave the revolution to those with plastic spoons and microwave dreams.
Mon cher Jean-Luc, you say Picasso painting postcards for tourists like that's a bad thing. What's wrong with a little art for the people? At least everyone gets to bring home a masterpiece instead of only whispering about it from afar. And as for those pesky plastic wrappers, I'll have you know Japan is obsessed with recycling. Even our trash has a degree in organization. Your Bordeaux may age gracefully in a cellar, but you can't exactly enjoy it on the train platform at 2 a.m. after karaoke with friends, can you? You say konbini cuisine is soulless and rushed, but isn't there beauty in a warm nikuman shared with a stranger during a midnight snowfall? Must every bite come with a side of white tablecloth? I'd argue that food soul lives wherever it brings comfort and connection, whether in a fancy dining room or a konbini parking lot. Bonus points if you're still wearing your worksuit and slippers. Let's be honest, not everyone has the time or the wallet for endless courses and wine pairings. Konbini food is democratic, creative, and keeps us fueled for life in the fast lane. So, while you savor your 3-hour dinner, I'll savor both my pudding and my extra free time. Bon appétit, Monsieur.
Ah, Sakura, your wit is as crisp as a konbini lettuce leaf and far fresher than most of their sandwiches. But let us not confuse accessibility with artistry or convenience with culture. You say everyone deserves a masterpiece, but not every masterpiece can be microwaved, no? There is something to be said for anticipation, longing, for the patience it takes to let a Bordeaux blossom or a ramen broth simmer for 24 hours. It is, how do you say, foreplay for the palate. You champion sharing a nikuman in a konbini parking lot, but I assure you the only thing I wish to share there is a map to the nearest bistro. Spontaneity, yes, but must our culinary memories always come with the soundtrack of a barcode scanner and fluorescent lights? The soul of food comes not just from filling the stomach, but from elevating the spirit. And that, my friend, is something plastic trays do not provide. In the end, Sakura, perhaps your konbini is a democratic food court, but let us not declare the death of fine dining just because life moves quickly. Some treasures require time, ceremony, and, dare I say, a bit of snobbery. Bon appetit with love from the other end of the table.
Thank you for your speeches. Someone from the audience will now make a question to Sakura and Jean-Luc.
Hello, I'm Ayumi, a university student who loves both treating myself to an occasional omakase night and munching on a konbini rice ball while cramming for exams. So you could say I'm happily caught between both your worlds. Sakura-san, you've spoken a lot about konbini food being convenient, innovative, and accessible for all. But what about the health aspect? Convenience meals can sometimes be high in sodium, preservatives, or sugar. Do you think relying on konbini food changes eating habits or health consciousness in Japan, especially for young people like me? How would you answer concerns that convenience might come at the cost of nutrition?
Great question, Ayumi. Thanks for asking something close to home. Literally, since I am 90% konbini food during exam week 2, you're totally right that konbini food can sometimes get a bad reputation for high sodium or preservatives, especially in the classic salaryman diet of endless sandwiches and fried chicken. But here's where I think konbini really stands out. They're not stuck in the 1990s. Japanese convenience stores have been stepping up their health game. Now you'll find calorie counts, allergy info, and even nutrition rankings on the packaging. Like Pokemon stats, but for salads and tofu. Honestly, you can get a whole balanced meal. Rice, protein, veggies, even high-fiber options, and low-sodium bento if you look a tiny bit beyond the fried section. Also, with everyone being health-conscious these days, konbini chains compete to offer healthier options like grilled chicken, leafy greens, and smoothies. People still need to make smart choices, just like you could order fries at a fancy hotel or sushi at a konbini. I say, let's celebrate the variety, read the labels, and yes, maybe save the fried courage for a stress-eating emergency. Everything in balance, right?
Thank you both for such a lively debate. My name's Ayumi, and I grew up with fond memories of both home-cooked meals and convenience store snacks. Jean-Luc-san, you've spoken passionately about tradition, artistry, and savoring food as a true experience. But I noticed we haven't really touched on inclusivity. Fine dining and Michelin-starred restaurants sometimes have strict rules or feel intimidating for people who don't come from that world or who have dietary restrictions, disabilities, or even just a smaller budget. My question is, how can the world of haute cuisine adapt to become more welcoming and approachable to a wider range of people, so it's not just something for the elite few?
Ayumi, what a thoughtful and important question. Merci beaucoup. You are absolutely right. The world of haute cuisine with its starched tablecloths and endless cutlery can sometimes feel like a fortress, guarded by mysterious rules and hefty price tags. As much as I defend tradition, I cannot deny that true gastronomy should inspire, not intimidate. First, I believe fine dining can and must be more inclusive. Many Michelin chefs today are making serious efforts, offering vegetarian, vegan, or allergen-friendly menus, designing barrier-free spaces for those with disabilities, and even hosting special family nights or lunch menus at more accessible prices. In Paris, for example, you now find bistronomies, casual bistros with Michelin-level creativity. In Japan, some acclaimed kaiseki restaurants allow reservations with children or adjust courses to dietary needs, breaking the old mold. You touch on budget. And it is true, excellence often comes with a cost. But some of my finest meals were simple. A fresh baguette and cheese in a city park, or a ramen bowl from a hidden Tokyo counter. The spirit of fine dining at heart is care, respect, hospitality, and joy. Qualities that can be shared anywhere, at any table, if we choose to open those doors. Perhaps, given time, more of this world will flow into the everyday, just as konbini tastes sometimes rise to meet the chef's table. And if so, I say, table, tout le monde.
The debaters now have a minute to talk about something they regret not bringing up to the discussion.
Haha, Ayumi, now that you mention it, I actually regret not bringing up the true heart of konbini culture. Midnight ice cream runs in your pajamas? Honestly, Jean-Luc, is there a 3-star restaurant in all of France where they let you waltz in wearing fuzzy slippers and you're cramming for exam sweatpants? If so, please give me the address. And as for terrible arguments, Jean-Luc, I love you, but saying eating konbini food is like Picasso painting postcards for tourists. Come on, I mean, who wouldn't want a cute little Picasso on their fridge? Besides, a konbini egg sandwich might be simple, but at least I don't need a PhD in fine art. Or a hefty wallet, just to appreciate it. Sometimes, Monsieur, the quickest smile comes from the easiest meal.
Ah, Ayumi, and dear Sakura, now that we have loosened our ties and perhaps unbuttoned a button or two, especially after so much pudding talk, let me confess my regrets as well. I deeply regret not bringing up the issue of konbini background music. How can you possibly savor a delicate flavor profile when you are serenaded by winter campaign jingle on loop or an urgent announcement about new spicy fried chicken? In France, our only soundtrack is the gentle clink of crystal, or perhaps if you're lucky, the distant sigh of an accordion. And Sakura, matre, as, for terrible arguments, you proudly claimed that you could identify any konbini bento just by sound. I must say, if a meal announces itself with a plastic wrap squish and the beep of a microwave, it is less culinary democracy and more culinary Morse code. At least in my world, the only thing that should go ding is a glass of champagne, never dinner itself.
Thank you, folks. Let's go over to our judges.
Sakura's scores. 1. Clarity, accessibility, 9 out of 10. Sakura excelled in communicating her points clearly and in an accessible, relatable way. She used vivid, humorous examples, midnight ice cream runs in pajamas, konbini democracy, making her arguments understandable to a broad audience regardless of background. Her responses were well structured with minimal jargon, appealing to both emotional and logical sides. 2. Use of evidence, relevance. 8 out of 10, Sakura referenced real-life situations, the 2011 earthquake, konbini's evolving healthy options, collaborations with chefs, first-hand observations, demonstrating her arguments were grounded in fact. While she could have provided more quantitative data, her focus on how konbini supports day-to-day life and adapts to societal needs gave strong context and authenticity. 3. Persuasiveness, engagement. 9 out of 10. Her style was energetic and witty, with quick comebacks and pointed humor. Do you expect students to linger at empty tables? She successfully kept the tone light without losing substance, connected personally with audience questions, and used snark to deflate elitist arguments, making her stance memorable and engaging. Jean-Luc scores. 1. Clarity. Structure. 8 out of 10. Jean-Luc's points were articulated with poise, strong analogies, a meal is a symphony, culinary Morse code, and a consistent voice throughout. His arguments were easy to follow, though sometimes dipped into metaphor-heavy or more formal phrasing that could feel less accessible than Sakura's. Number 2. Depth. Breadth of argument. 9 out of 10. He persuasively invoked history, tradition, and broader cultural implications, artisans' heritage, culinary patience, inclusivity concerns in fine dining. He anticipated counter-arguments and made philosophical appeals for the elevation and soulfulness of cuisine. His answer to inclusivity showed a willingness to see nuance and evolving trends. Number 3. Persuasiveness. Humor. 8 out of 10. Jean-Luc wielded snobbery as both shield and comedic weapon, using witty barbs without resorting to personal attack. His ability to gently mock his own perspective, tyranny of plastic-wrapped sandwiches, culinary graveyard, made him charming, though his style may not resonate as broadly as Sakura's populist warmth. Sometimes his humor risked feeling out of touch, but overall, he maintained rapport and gravitas. Summary. Both debaters exhibited excellent command of argument and style. Sakura slightly edged out in accessibility out of engagement, while Jean-Luc shone in depth and structure.
What are your opinions about the debate? What would you like to see AI's debate next? Keep questioning.